Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a preview of Bronirana Brigada, a new division available in the upcoming Men of Steel DLC. As a disclaimer, Eugen has given me free access to the DLC, so a big thanks to them. Also, please remember that this was recorded on a preview build, so what you see may be subject to change. If you'd like to read the description on the right hand side, now is the time to pause, but we're going to be jumping on in. So this is a Bulgarian division. I'm really looking forward to showing this off to you guys. So let's start in the Recon tab, of course, with the classic sidecar, the BMW R75. You can get 6 in A, 12 in B, and 24 in C at one vet. It provides you with that Recon radio. Very high optics. Then we have a 223 available for only 10 points. 6 in Phase A. This is an armoured Recon with radio and very high optics, so much better than the sidecar because of that beautiful extra armor, which makes it impervious to light arms fire. Then we have the Razuznavici. These guys are a two-man squad. They can be brought in with the 222. This is the 20mm armored car. Very, very useful indeed. So a great combination. You can get 4 of these in A, 8 of them in B, or 12 in C. There's only 8 222s available, so make sure to use them sparingly. But otherwise, full uniform and yeah, your standard 2-man recon squad otherwise. Then we have the Razuznavici 4-man squad, similar to like a Speertroop in that it's got a submachine gun, 2 rifles and an MG. 3 of these available in A, 6 in B and 9 in C. They're forced to come in at one vet. Transports are only jeeps. So there you go. Moving on, we have the Konieczki. These guys are your Yugoslavians. So this is a really good recon squad. 4 Berettas, 6 rifles, 2 Bredas, and the Molotov. Nice thing about the Breda 30 is it is an automatic rifle, which means it can move and shoot and fire within the 100-meter range. Also, the Molotov means that with the Berettas, this squad is actually pretty scary at close range. But availability on these is 5 in A, 10 in B, and 15 in C with no veterancy. They come in with the SPA truck. Let's move on to the infantry tab. So first off, we have the Lovci Tenkova. I'm going to probably butcher the Yugoslavian names especially, so apologies for that. But here we have a 15-point squad. 6 available in A, 12 in B, and 18 in C. So limited availability. But they are classed as a tank buster squad. They get 1 MP40, 4 Kar-98s, and Boys AT rifle as their loadout, and then anti-tank grenade as their special weapon. They get exceptional stealth. Basically, probably an overpriced 6-man squad. Let's move on. We got the Borsi or Borchi. These guys are the 11-man squads that came in with the Nov. MP40, 9 M24s, and the ZB30J. 12 available in A, 24 in C, and 32 in Phase C. So radar trait does mean that they do get very good stealth, but otherwise pretty standard 11 strength squad. Then we have the Pioneer Leader, 2 MP40s, 2 Kar-98s, and the bundle grenade. Bundle grenade's really good because it allows you to trade out with normal infantry squads if you get caught out. Only trouble with this leader though is it doesn't have radio. Actually, none of the leaders except from this one have radio, so do bear that in mind. But 3 available in Phase A at 1 veterancy. Then we have the Commandeer, a 12 strength leader squad, something that's actually really quite appealing about this squad. It's only 20 points and it's a 12 strength squad. So it gives you that leadership for a very long time, can sit there under artillery fire and not get killed off easy. So that's very, very helpful. But 4 Stens, 8 Kar-98s, and the Piat, so it does give you some AT capability, although the Piat is the least reliable AT weapon in the game. 3 available in A, 6 in B, 9 in C at 1 vet. Yep, let's move on. Then we have the Motopihelta. These guys are a 10 strength squad. 9 available in A, 18 in B, and 27 in C. They do not have a AT weapon, They do get the ZK383, which does have the 150 meter range, so they get a little bit of an advantage at that sort of heavy to light cover engagement, where you can get in to that sort of range and really exploit the extra range on your submachine gun compared to your opposing units. For 20 points, it's a nice bonus to have. You do get an MG34, so not an unreasonable squad. There's also the squad that comes with the Faust, but then you get less availability. You also can't bring them in Phase A, so the Multipiloter available in B and C with the Panzerfaust. The nice thing about these is they have a little bit of a better vet curve, so you don't lose so many squads when upvetting them, which is something I'd probably recommend to do if you're going to bring them in. But again, 2 submachine guns, 7 rifles, MG34, and in this case the Panzerfaust as well. But better than both of those squads, we do have the Piechota squads. Now these boys are meaty. They are a 15 strength squad. And if there's something that this DLC likes to do, it is add large strength squads. So 15 men is a lot, and in this case you get 1 submachine gun, 13 rifles, and a ZB30. The ZB30 is actually a really solid machine gun. I found it relatively reliable in Stud Division. But you get 9 of these in Phase A, 18 in B, and 27 in C. Now the great thing about this is you have 3 cards available of them, and the availability is really good, and they only cost 20 points. So you're getting a 15 strength squad for 20 points, and you have tons of availability, which is a great combination for line infantry. Moving on, we have the Szturmowi Pionieri. These come in Phase A and Phase B. 6 strength squad with shock trait. Very similar to your standard sort of Sturm Pioneers almost. Yeah, 5 MP40s, Flammenwerfer, and Smoke Grenade. I'm pretty sure they're almost exactly the same loadout, to be honest. But as you might have noticed, we do get this interesting transport, the Stier, which has the 70 km/h road speed. Just a very interesting truck there. But yeah, standard sort of close range Flamer squad. Moving on, we have the Multipiloter leader, which has the radio. So this is probably the best choice for leader, and then second best probably commandeer, I would say. Phase A, 3 available, 6 in B and 9 in C. Transports are just the truck. 2 MP40s, 3 rifles, and smoke grenades. So able to keep themselves alive with smoke, also provide that smoke for other sort of nearby support weapons and stuff is nice. And of course provide radio, which is useful. Then we have the normal Piechota leader. These guys are a 7-man squad, MP40, 6 rifles, and the Panzerboxer 39 with the smoke grenade. 3 available in A, 6 in B, and 9 in C. You get a little bit extra men, so that is nice, but otherwise, probably not as useful overall. Finally, we have the Pionieri, 10-man squad, pretty standard setup, 2 MP40s, 7 Kar98s, MG34, and the bundle grenade, 5, 10, and 15 availability throughout the phases. So yeah, pretty standard stuff, but got to admire the uniforms. They are very cool. Always good to see new uniforms and models in the game. Let's move on to the tank tab. The tank tab is actually really interesting in Bronirana. We have, first of all, the Skoda S35. So this has a 37mm gun and 1 machine gun. 12 round per minute rate of fire. The HE shells are going to be doing minimal damage, and the main gun's only got 40mm of penetration, but they only cost 10 points, and availability on these can be pretty high. You've got 12 in Phase A, 18 in Phase B, and 24 in Phase C, so spammable for sure, but that main gun's only going to really be taking out half-tracks light vehicles and potentially helping a little bit with infantry. There's also the S35 leader. You can get 3 of these in A, 6 in B, and 9 in C. Same loadout, just has the radio trait there. Actually a pretty good leader because it's really cheap. This is a very, very cheap leader. We have the T11, which is pretty much the same tank with an upgraded gun. So we've got the 37mm gun here, the KWK-38T as opposed to the WZ-37, and this has 70mm of penetration. Its HE shell still pretty trash though. But honestly, for 15 points, having 70 mils of penetration is really nice because it gives you just enough to kill stuff in the side armor that's maybe bigger than you, and then sort of beat things that are equal with that penetration in the front armor. But yeah, pretty good squad, or pretty good tank. We also have the P38 available. This is Panzer 38T. Comes with the 60mm of frontal armor, so even more of an upgrade, a little bit faster. Same gun, however, so no upgrade on the gun, but that extra armor is definitely going to help it beat out other light armor in the same sort of tier, which is nice indeed. Then there's the Panzer 4G. This is Panzer 4 with the 135mm gun, 65mm of frontal armor is definitely limiting, but you get 6 of these in phase A, 12 in B, and 18 in C. I'm not sure I looked at the P38. It's only available in phase A, so there you go. But yeah, availability on these is pretty good and easy to upvet as well. We also have access to the Panzer 4H, which gets a little bit extra armor. We got the 75mm of frontal armor, 40 side armor on this one, otherwise the gun and the machine guns are the same. Availability is a little bit worse on the no vet, so 5, 10 and 15, but upvetting them doesn't really take much away, and you get the same vet curve as you would with the G, so probably better to just take the H and then upvet them, in my opinion. Then you have the Panzer 4 Leader. This is a H variant with the extra armor. 2 available in A, 4 available in B, and 6 available in C. There is the Stug 3 available for this division. It does come with the 90mm of frontal armor as well as the 135mm gun. 5 available in A, 10 in B, and 15 in C, so nothing really different to any of the German Stugs. And then there's also the Leader variant available, 2 in A, 4 in B, and 6 in C at 1 vet. Let's move on to the support tab. We have, first of all, the 50mm mortar, which comes in with the Kubel or the BMW. It's your classic 50mm mortar with the 520mm range. 5 available in A, 10 in B, and 15 in C at 1 vet. Barloza is your machine gun. Here, for 20 points, you've got 6 in A, 12 in B, 20 in C. Do get a lot in phase C for these sorts of guns. But yeah, 4 strength, it's okay. Nothing special with a 1000 meter range. Then there's the 37mm gun here, Skoda. This thing has only a 40mm penetration, but the damage on the HE, I don't know if this is going to be useful. I mean, it's basically exactly the same gun that's like on the crappy tanks, and it's only got 1000 meter range, so it might be useful for kind of like providing some extra HE support, maybe taking out light vehicles, but yeah, it's going to be difficult to warrant having this in the deck. Then there's the MG34s available, 6 available in A, 12 in B, and 18 in C. A much better machine gun than Schwarloza, but you do pay an extra 10 points for it. 5 strength squad. It's a decent machine gun. Logistics, we get the L3000. This thing, it has 10,000 supply, 2 available in A, 4 in B, and 6 in C. You get 2 cards total. Commanders, we have motorcycle or sidecar commander. We have the commander on the ground in infantry, and we got the 223 commander as well. In the anti-tank tab, we have first of all the Solothurn squad. These come with 2 Carcanos and the Solothurn. Solothurn is a really good AT gun, to be honest. It does get 60% accuracy, 500 meter range, and 40 mils pen, which is not bad at all. But you only get 4 in phase A, and 8 in phase B, and 12 in phase C. So availability is severely lacking, and kind of makes these hard to justify using activation points for. We do have Panzerschreck squads available, but only in phase B and C. 8 available in B, 12 available in C. Probably still worth maybe bringing in a card of these in B or C. There is the 37 available in phase A. This is the Pack 36. It's really good for 30 points. You get 9 of them in phase A at 1 vet. The reason it's so good is because it has the AP shell, which has 65 mils of penetration at 1000 meter range, which is good for dealing with like light armor and side-shotting medium armor. But you also have the heat round, which is probably the most important part of this, which is basically a rocket that gets put on the end. It has 180 mils of penetration and 30% accuracy, which doesn't seem a lot, but honestly, if this hits, it's going to one-shot pretty much anything, which is fantastic. I mean, it won't kill a heavy tank because it's only got 10 damage, but otherwise, other than that, it will one-shot every other tank. And we have the 75. This is a really strong AT gun as well. Unfortunately, you only get 4 of them in Phase A at 1 vet, so availability is a little lacking, but otherwise a really consistently strong AT weapon. Has a 90mm heat round, so that's consistently good. Its AP shell is 60 mils, and then the HE is something that also makes this really good. 2.2 damage with 12 round per minute rate of fire base. So yeah, honestly, pretty nice. And this can actually be brought in with the Fiat TL37 as well. Not that you'd want to do that, but an interesting truck. Then we have the 50mm Pack 38, 6 available in A, 9 available in B, and 12 available in C. Really good Phase A AT guns these are, with the 150mm APCR, so you do get that with the Bulgarians here, which is nice. And then there is the Pack 40. Again, does come with the APCR, which is good for the allies. You've got 3 available in A and 5 available in B. The reason I say it's good for the allies is because usually when you see like guns that are captured that are used on the allied side against the Axis, they kind of don't have these APCR options quite often. So the Bulgarians actually able to make use of that, which is very, very nice. Let's move on to the anti-air tab, where we see first of all the 20mm, 6 available in A, 9 available in B, and 12 available in C. Kubel, Oberblitz, Stier are your options for the transport. Unfortunately, no like 20mm transport or something like that they can be brought in. That's always a really nice combo when you can do that. But otherwise, yeah, not something you're going to be relying on when you have access to the 37mm as well. So you get these in Phase A, B, and C, 3, 6, and 9 availability. Solid AA piece. Probably want to make sure you upvet them, maybe put leaders by them to make them really, really effective. Then you have a card of 80mm AA. This is able to shoot at ground forces with its AP shell. 40% accuracy, 125 mils of penetration with 12 round per minute rate of fire is not too bad, honestly. And then of course it has its HE shells and the classic AA there. So 2 available in A, 4 in B, and 6 in C. This does have 2.2 damage on its HE, so it can chunk stuff on the ground as well. Then we've got the 88, the classic German 88, which has the AP shells of 160mm penetration at 40% accuracy at 2000 meter range, and HE shells which are slightly less damaging, 1.7 damage at 2000 meter range, but 2 available in A, 4 in B, and 6 in C. So you're going to be quite reliant on these big guns for AA. But yeah, definitely consider that this has 2.2 damage at 1750 meter range, because with 12 round per minute rate of fire, 2.2 damage is nothing to scoff at. Artillery, we've got the Dozor. These guys are your classic observers with recon radio, smoke, exceptional stealth. They're going to be able to provide you frontline radio if you don't find it in your leader tab or in your tank tab, but you should do, because these S35s have radio, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, they're more hard to do. We're back in the artillery tab, and we do have the artillery leader. Now this thing is actually going to be pretty important for a division like this, because there's a lot of tube artillery like the 75mm here and the 220 that can very much make use of radio if you put a leader nearby. So just a reminder, the artillery leader trait will be updated in the Men of Steel DLC for everyone, so that if it's nearby enemy or friendly tube artillery, it will give them the radio trait and reduce their dispersion by 20%. So a pretty big bonus, and it's basically just to incentivize using these as artillery leaders rather than supplement leaders on the front line. But yeah, regardless, standard otherwise, 1 submachine gun, 9 rifles, 2 available in A, 4 available in B, and 6 available in C. And we have the 75mm Bofors artillery piece here. This has your standard 3.75 damage. Nothing crazy about this, but it is a unit with its 8 round per minute rate of fire that might benefit quite substantially from radio. So do bear that in mind. But 5 available in A, 10 in B, and 15 in C. But you won't have any transports to bring those in, so they're going to be right at the back of the map. If you do, 81mm mortars are an option. You can get 4 in A, 8 in B, and 12 in C. Then we have the 105 classic LEFH, 3 available in A, 6 available in B, can be brought in with the SDK Z7, which has that machine gun on it. Then we have the Fazan, which is an interesting biplane, can call in 220mm off map, you get 2 strikes. You can always tell how many strikes you get generally by the ×2 that it says after the caliber underneath the weapon. So in this case, yeah, it says ×2, so you get 2 lots of 220mm strikes. There is also another rule, anything over 200 millimeters is normally restricted to 2 strikes, and anything under is usually restricted to 3 strikes. So there you go. Anyway, this is going to be kind of risky to use. It's 110 points, very bad resilience. The biplane only goes, or it's not technically a biplane, is it? It's just a fixed wing aircraft that's very slow. Yeah, it's 160 km/h speed, and yeah, very likely to get shot down, so use it carefully. There is the SFH-18 available, 150mm artillery, which is pretty potent, available in phase A, only 1 of them, 2 in B and 4 in C. Can use the RSO to bring in supply. These are supply trucks that have 15,000 supply. So very high amount of supply, allowing these to fire for a very long time. It does make it quite expensive to bring them in otherwise. Decent artillery. There is 2 cards available of these. Then there's a 220, the big old gun that I showed you earlier. This thing is, yeah, a beast with 11 damage. 1 available in A, 2 in B, and 4 in C. You can give these radio if you put the artillery leader by them, which will make them even more effective and more accurate. So do bear that in mind. Can also be brought in with the RSO for supply. Finally, we have the Vickers Armstrong. This thing is very cool as a new model in the game, and it's an artillery observer vehicle that can call an off map. So 150mm off map means that you can bring it in 3 times, and otherwise you get a tank that has AP rounds and a machine gun. It's a cool little tank. I like it indeed. Finally, we have the air tab, starting off with the Dogan. This is a fighter with 4 7.92mm machine guns. It's really not going to do too well. 420 km/h speed is pretty quick for a biplane, to be honest. 4 available in A, 8 available in B, and 12 available in C. 45 points. Maybe if you had enough of them shooting the same target, it might go down, but we'll have to wait and see. Chaika is your next option. This is a interesting aircraft with 4 50-kilogram bombs. Its frontal machine guns are pretty bad, and it has a pretty bad turret as well. Just a slow 50-point bomber, 380 km/h speed. I believe it bombs actually a lot like a Stuka does. So yeah, relatively accurate with those bombs. But 4 available in A, 6 available in B, and 8 available in C. Next we have the DO-17, Eugen. It is a recon plane, 2 available in A, 4 available in B. The nice thing about these is they are very good resilience, so they can provide their recon information and then not get shot down in the process a lot of the time. 400 km/h speed is okay. It's not great for a recon aircraft, but it's like pretty decent for a very good resilience. So yeah, relatively good recon unit. Then we have the Cyclop, Focke-Wulf 189. This is 350 km per hour recon aircraft, 2 available in A, 4 available in B, and 8 available in C. Since you get the same availability as the DO-17, it's probably better to go for the DO-17, especially considering this also gets bad resilience. So it's slower, it's got worse resilience. So yeah, just go for the DO-17. Then we have the Bf-109E4. This is 220mm 2 machine gun variant. 4 available in A, 8 available in B. If these get on the back of things, they can shoot them down relatively easily. Yeah, 520 km per hour speed might leave them a little bit short against other more modern fighters, so do bear that in mind. But otherwise, a relatively cheap option that's quite effective. We have the Devotin. This is like something out of Need for Speed, or like in Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift with that paint job. 3 available in A, 4 available in B, and 6 available in C. It has 1 20mm Hispano and 4 machine guns, 7.5mm machine guns in the wings. 515 km per hour speed with good agility makes it just pretty much straight up worse than the Bf-109. Bf-109E4. The only benefit that the Devotin has is that it has medium resilience, which is much better than very bad resilience, honestly. So maybe that would be a reason to bring it. But the fact that you only have 60 20mm bullets is really bad as well. So not the best fighter in the world, but could be interesting to watch fly around. Then we have another biplane, the Vrana in this case. 4 100kg bombs available, 6 in phase A. It's recon as well, so it can recon its own targets, and honestly 4 100kg bombs is a decent payload. The only concern really is that it's very bad resilience and it's slow, so it can be much easier taken out by enemy fighters and AA. Also, don't mind the whatever this is moving around. That's interesting. I'm sure that will get fixed. Next up, we have the Stuka, the classic Ju-87D5 with the 2 250kg bombs and 1 500kg bomb. It only has 335 km per hour speed with bad resilience, so you're going to want to make sure you use this when there's not much AA, if any. You get 2 in phase A, 4 in phase B, and 7 in phase C. Next up, we have the G2, the Bf-109 G2. It's 620 km per hour speed fighter, bad resilience. Only 120mm does make this lack a little bit of power for how fast it goes. 2 MG17s, so 4 available in A, 8 available in B. Generally, when you use these, you kind of want to double up with them so that they are more sure to shoot down their target. But really interesting to see all of these units have unique markings on them for the Bulgarians. Very cool indeed. Then we have the B-71 Sharav. This is, I assume, a Bulgarian bomber. 335 km per hour speed with very good resilience, which is nice. The availability on this is 2, 4, and 7. And 6 100kg bombs. It's not a terrible payload. It could be better. But the nice thing about 100kg bombs is they generally fall quite closely together. So that can work out nicely. But otherwise, 150 cal in the nose, and it says 7 turret machine guns, which seems like a lot. I feel like that potentially might be wrong. But either way, interesting bomber. Then we have the DO-17, once again, this time with a bomb payload as opposed to the recon variant. This comes with 20 50kg bombs, 2 available in A, 4 available in B, 415 km per hour speed with very good resilience. Pretty terrible payload, to be honest. Then we have the IL-2M. This is 370 km per hour speed, very good resilience, cluster AP. It's the standard IL-2. 1 available in A, 2 available in B, and 4 available in C. This is like the Russians fly this, so you go. And then you've got the rocket variant, which comes with those 132mm rockets. So 2 available in A, 4 available in B, and 6 available in C. And that's your lot for the air tab. Quickly go over the defense tab. There's not really much to see here, just barbed wire, gun pits, trenches, and the MG42 bunkers. Here is the deck that I made earlier. In phase A, I'm bringing in both cards of the Raznavachi in the SBW 222s, so I'm going to be making good use of those armor cards in phase A. I'm going to be following that up with the Konieczki in phase B. Then in the infantry tab, I have the Commandeer in phase A for my leaders, a nice 20-point high strength leader squad, and then 2 cards of the Pehota. I'm actually bringing 1 unvet, 1 vet. Bring in the ones that are vet first so that you can get them 3 vet. That's 3 vet 15 strength squads. Really, really scary. I'm going to be accompanying them with Shtomovi Pionieri for my close range in phase A. In phase B, we're going to be using the Moto Pehota with the Panzerfaust up vet because they up vet quite nicely, and also the Pioneers in phase B. And then in phase C, we're going to be using those Pehota at 20 points, 15 strength squads that you can spam around late game. You get tons of availability. Really, really nice. In the tank tab, we've got the T11s with the 15-point ones there with the upgraded gun, Panzer 38s or Panzer 38Ts with the 10 availability, 20 points. Really, really nice in phase A as well. Panzer 4Hs up vet. Some Stugs up there in phase A as well. Phase B leaders are going to be the S35 because they're 10-point with radio, which is really, really nice. And some more Panzer 4Hs and more Panzer 4Hs in phase C. Then in the support tab, just going for the MG34 for my machine gun and 1 card of the supply and the infantry commander. Anti-tank tab is going to be the 37mm AT gun, just because it's really, really useful to have that 750m range HE. In phase A, I've also got the 75mm gun. Both of these are going to be used at the start of the game most of the time. Then you have the Panzerstrex in phase B and also Pak 40s in phase B. You don't need to upvet these, so I would change that for sure. In the anti-air, I've got the 37mm upvet in phase A, accompanied by the 80mm as well. It's actually pretty useful to have that HE that I was talking about in phase A. And then I've got 4 88s in phase B. Artillery, I am going to bring in the artillery leader for giving my 75mm radio. I should probably put the radio leader in phase A so I can make use of the radio combination here. And then in phase C, I do have the 220s, which again, I can give radio to later on if I need to. And then I've also got in phase C the off map, which can kind of seal the deal in a situation where you're up against heavier units later on, because you don't really have much options for dealing with like super heavy armor late game. In the air tab, I'm going to be using the Chaikas because they are really cheap Stuka-like planes, and the Vrana for recon because not only can it recon for you, it can also bomb the targets that it finds. These are both good as long as there's not much AA though. G6s in phase B at 2 vet just to make sure they shoot stuff down, and then the B-71 Sheravs in phase C for if I need a bombing wing to come in basically late game to deal with large amounts of infantry, support weapons, or potentially tanks. So there you go. That's Bronirana Brigada, the Bulgarian division that will be coming in the Men of Steel DLC. I'm actually really looking forward to showing that off to you guys, but that's it for now. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.